This week, he's excited to be back, of course, back in business, and saying it was a big day for the NFL. It's been a big offseason in Dallas. So with the latest, we, of course, go to our very own Jane Slater.
As we look to the NFC East, a case for the Cowboys. Now, I know that Cowboys Twitter likes to say that this is their year every year, but perhaps this is one when you consider how lucky they were in the draft with CeeDee Lamb falling to them at 17 and then picking up free agents like Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe. Let's also not forget that Aldon Smith, who hasn't played in the league in 5 years, just got reinstated. And oh, by the way, they do have a new coaching staff. I'm talking to a number of players. They are locked in some of these virtual chats. Now, when they get back to work, another thing to consider, that strength of their schedule, the third easiest in the league.
Appreciate you later, Slater. Guys, the story of the offseason, of course, is Dak's contract. How long does it drag on? Do you think Jerry Jones truly values what he has in Dak Prescott? How is he showing that, Schrags? What do you think as of this May 22nd?
Hey, here we go, and it's now going into Memorial Day weekend, and we still don't have a deal for Dak. I understand and appreciate what Dak Prescott's doing. I actually think his representation has held strong and has been clear and transparent throughout this. Commend them. I think there needs to be a real rubber hits the road moment, though, in the next couple weeks, because I don't think Jerry Jones's pot is getting any bigger financially. And I know Jerry Jones, and he likes to win. He also likes his money. I don't know if this should be taken the same way it would be any other offseason. That's not fair to Dak. I'm not holding it against Dak. But the fact of the matter is, all these NFL owners are about to lose going on the next 6 months. Jerry Jones might not be in a stronger position financially after the season, or might even not be in a stronger position financially in a couple months. If I'm Dak and the offer is strong enough where you can look in the mirror and go to sleep at night, I don't know if I need to be the highest paid quarterback and have these other things for your ego and for your wallet this offseason. It's a really tough time for the country. No one wants to hear about quarterback salaries. And in that building, I'm not sure the pot is going to get any bigger than it is right now over the next 12 months. I do believe they value him, and I think the offer that has been made has been very handsome. If I'm Dak Prescott, I got to think about it long and hard this 3-day weekend.
I hear you on that, Schrags, and I agree. Jerry Jones loves his money. So does Dak Prescott. I feel like it doesn't matter if you're an owner or a player. We all think like Mr. Krabs. Money, 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 money. And I feel like Dak Prescott is sitting back saying, okay, there's been certain individuals that have been paid that haven't been the best quarterback in the business. So if I've seen guys who aren't the best reset the market at the quarterback position, then how come all of a sudden I'm getting shortchanged? So I kind of side with Dak Prescott in this. Kay made the point about Pat Mahomes feeling like he's better than these other players. I know Dak Prescott is saying, well, I know a handful of guys that are making a ton of money that I am better than statistically, and I know I have a better future in the league. So how about you give me some money that represents that? I know that Jerry Jones values Dak Prescott. I just feel like he backed himself into a corner by paying a bunch of people first, and now he has to be responsible with how much he pays Dak.
Nate, was that Mr. Krabs or Ted DiBiase? I'm not really sure. Jerry Jones values winning. It's been a long time. Guys, I say this with full respect. Jerry Jones is pushing 80. The last time he won a Super Bowl, he was 52. How many more shots does he have at this thing? Okay, Dak Prescott could have put this thing to bed. We would not be talking about it. Beat the Eagles last year. Win 11 games. Get to the playoffs. Put up more than 9 points against the Saints or the Patriots. And then Jerry will come calling. Dak left it on the table because Dak wasn't good enough last year. I don't care what the stats say. He wasn't good enough in big games. That's the reason Jerry Jones is still sitting here. And that's the reason we're all going to be sitting here 20 years from now talking about the same topic.
Oh, Kyle is heated to start the show. Gotta love that. We've got so many fun guests. I love that. With your tweets, please hit us up at #GMFB at GMFB. As always, it is time for the Lead Block.
Lead block.
Lead block.
Oh, thanks, Schrags. Here's the deal. Let's start with those Super Bowl defending champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Clark Hunt, their CEO, did a Facebook Live with 105.3 The Fan yesterday, and he gave a timeline for negotiations with their Super Bowl MVP quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Clearly, there's a deal that's going to happen at some point.
Negotiations are something we'll be getting into this summer. But what he said and what we've said, both sides, is he wants to be a Kansas City Chief for life. And that's our mentality as well. We want him to play his entire career in Kansas City. And that's what we're going to be shooting for.
Okay, so we've talked about this. An impending deal will happen, I imagine, with a Super Bowl and an MVP his first 2 years as a starter. That deal will be big. But Kyle, can you think of one reason that Mr. Hunt and any of the Chiefs in that organization and front office should hesitate in giving Patrick Mahomes the mega deal that we're all expecting?
Hesitation. I define it as negotiation, which that was a word we just heard there, and which we have to have. There is no walk in with the giant check and balloons and just name your number. And if that annual number comes out and it's 43, 44, look out. It's going to be tough because sports fans, we have the salary cap in this league. And if it were just like baseball, then eventually Mahomes and Julio Jones and Aaron Donald would all be Cowboys making $50 million a year, and they'd all play for a Super Bowl, and that would be great. No, in the NFL, we have to spread it around, and every little penny counts. We've all seen them. I find very sobering statistics about big money quarterbacks playing for Super Bowls or not playing for Super Bowls. Anybody hear from Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson in a while? Because I haven't. We know Tom Brady has been the guy to do it by taking less, but I think the Peyton Manning example is really interesting because you think Peyton Manning is very money driven, made all the money in the world and all the commercials. No, Peyton Manning, when he won the Super Bowl with Denver, was the 6th highest quarterback in the league. When he beat the Bears with the Colts, when he was in his prime, 6th highest paid. Incidentally, the guy making number 1 that year, Tom Brady, who did not have enough to beat Peyton Manning that year. And I just look at it like this. You can become house poor. What is house poor? You see it all the time from these nudniks on House Hunter. You spend every red cent you possibly can on your house to get the best house possible. And Patrick Mahomes is a great house. But then you're sleeping on a yoga mat. You can't afford to pay for Chinese food. You got a great house, but there's some other amazing things that Patrick Mahomes is going to need to win Super Bowls, my friends. And so if that number is massive, it might be a rough ride. It's not going to be a Lombardi at the end of it every single year.
It's such an interesting deal because he's the best player in the league. He just won the Super Bowl. He was an MVP 2 years ago. If any player should get the mega deal, it's Patrick Mahomes. I think about it from Mahomes' standpoint. What does he want? Of course he wants to get paid, but how much do you need? And that's the question here, because if Mahomes wants to say, okay, well, I want to make $44 million, and to do that, I'll set the bar for all quarterbacks around the league, and the 31 other starting quarterbacks will call me and text me and say, thank you for doing that. You did this, and I can live like a king for the rest of my life as well. Well, what if you accept $38 million? What if you accept $37 million?
Yep.
Those quarterbacks, they'll still be happy with you. And guess what? Maybe you can also keep McCall Hardman when his rookie deal's up in a few years. Maybe you can still keep Travis Kelce when he's negotiating. And maybe you don't have to ask Sammy Watkins to restructure after every season because of the deal that he signed a few years ago. I look at it that way. It's on Mahomes because if you're the Chiefs, you might want to wait a little bit, see how this coronavirus thing affects the entire national economy, and maybe your budget as a team might lose a lot of money this year. Maybe we don't have as much to spend that we did last year. That's all good and well. But if Mahomes was to look in the mirror and say, wow, that was surely some fun ride we just had in January and February. I'd love to do it again. I'd love to run it back. Maybe Mahomes gives them a discount and doesn't break their back and go 44 million. Maybe it's somewhere closer to 35 to 40 million. Oh, poor guy. That would be terrible, wouldn't it?
I'm glad that you guys are being so financially responsible with money that isn't yours. And I'm not taking shots at you guys. I just want to look at this from a different perspective.
Yeah, you
Hear
are.
me out. I'm not doing the football player, you should just pay the guy because he's a ball player. I hear you, Kyle. I hear you on the quarterbacks that we haven't seen in a while. When Russell Wilson won his first Super Bowl, he was on a rookie deal. Aaron Rodgers, he was on that young contract. Even Carson Wentz recently, he was on a rookie deal. I mean, Pat Mahomes can look in the mirror and see the direct reflection and say, you're on your rookie deal. That's the reason why this team was able to build around you. But with all that said, I wonder if Michael Jordan looking back on how much money the Chicago Bulls, the NBA, Upper Deck, Gatorade, Hanes, all of these different brands have made off of him. Let's just forget about the brands. Let's just go just the Chicago Bulls. I'm talking about since the time he stopped playing basketball up until now, if he would have charged them more, if he would have asked for more money. The point I'm trying to make is Pat Mahomes isn't just getting paid for now. He's not just getting paid for what he just did this past season. He's getting paid for 10 years from now, 20 years from now. 100 years from now, there's going to be movies, documentaries, jerseys, highlights being sold. And you know who's going to be the recipient? The NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. So, yeah, he could take a discount right now. But if he understands what he's worth and what he's about to bring to this league, to this organization for the next 10 to 15 years, he's not getting paid for this one season. He's getting paid because for the rest of his life, even when Pat Mahomes is dead, his grandkids are going to be watching highlights and seeing people walk around with his jersey, and they're still going to be making money off of his name. That's why he